Welcome to Box of Chocolates, where you never know what you're going to get. Thank you for joining me for my review of A Working Man, the next collaboration between Jason Statham and David Ayer. They did The Beekeeper last year, which overall I didn't think was all that good, but it definitely had some entertainment to it. It had some fun action scenes. It was Jason Statham doing his Jason Statham thing, so if you like that, there was another one. And I think this is going to be a pretty simple review because it's another one. Again, it's very much the thing Jason Statham is good at doing. He keeps on doing it. Exactly what is advertised to you on the tin is what you are going to get. Now, of course, there are varying degrees of quality, and I wasn't a huge fan of The Beekeeper. I thought it was okay. I thought this wasn't even as good as that, actually. But Jason Statham is effective at what he always does. He's basically playing himself again, but stick to what you know. And compared to something like The Beekeeper, I actually thought there was a little bit more to his character this time. I liked in some of the more casual scenes where he's talking to his boss, his friends, his daughter. He's a little more lighthearted. He's a little more smiley and happy, and like there are moments where he feels like he has some humanity to him and he's not just this murder machine. The plot is extremely simple, but it's effective. You root for him, you want him to save the kidnapped girl, and you want the bad guys to die. The stakes are established. I'm invested enough. It gets the job done, but it is the most cookie cutter plot of all time. I mean, that's literally all it is. Girl kidnapped, must go find her, and that's it. There's really not much to the supporting cast. Michael Pena is the kidnapped girl's father. He's only in the movie for a very short amount of time. David Harbour is in the movie as Jason Statham's friend. He doesn't have anything to do. He's only in it for a couple minutes. He shows up a few times. And by the time he showed up the second time, I had forgotten that he had been in the movie because he just had nothing to do. It's really just the Jason Statham show and all of the villains who are all just completely generic, evil Russian mobster dudes. They just like money, and that's their whole thing. There's one side villain who had a little bit more going on with him, but for the most part, it's very much just those are the bad guys, go get them, and there's very little to it. It's way too long. There is no reason a movie like this should be nearly 2 hours. This is so simplistic. I don't know how you possibly think you've justified making it any longer than 90 minutes. There's like a whole sort of subplot that happens involving the man who's trying to purchase the kidnapped girl and whether or not he actually wants her, so she's taken to another place and some events happen over there, and then that decision is just immediately reversed and she's taken back to where she already was. And it's like, well, then why did we do any of that? The reason is to give Jason Statham more time to complete his mission and to find her. But man, if you had just tightened up that plot, that whole thing could have just been removed. This could have been 90 minutes and saved us all a decent amount of time there, because there's just so little to this. There's no reason it should be that long. And unfortunately, even the action is not all that great. Like, it's serviceable, and there are a few moments where I enjoyed the choreography, but even compared to The Beekeeper, I thought this was a weird step down in the action. I don't know what happened there. A lot of it is filmed really close up, and there are a lot of cuts. So you don't really get a lot of great scenes showing off the stunt work. I don't know if it was a different team behind that, like the stunt coordinators or what, or if they just had less time to work on this one, or if they weren't as passionate about this one. I don't know, but it's a step down, oddly enough. There was like one move Jason Statham pulled off that I thought was cool and that I remember, and there are some bloody moments where the people get stabbed in the throat and shit like that, but for the most part, the actual action scenes are not filmed in an above average way at all. So when you have such a simple plot and an unjustified running time, and even when the action kicks in, it's like, this is totally standard action. It's not really better than anything else I've gotten elsewhere. It's quite a step down from many other movies. There's not really much to it that's worth recommending unless you're a Jason Statham fan who just wants to see him in any context all the time. If he's kicking ass, you want to see it, this is that, and so you'll have a good time again. But if you've got a bit of higher standard in regards to that, this is not on the higher echelon of Jason Statham stuff. This is like perfectly in the middle. It's Statham. It does its thing. It doesn't like royally fuck up. I think it has its issues, but again, you're invested enough in the stakes. It's simple enough. You don't have to think about it too hard, but it doesn't do anything particularly good. It's all very much... I'm surprised I've remembered it for long enough to make this video. The dialogue is so basic. There's so much exposition at the beginning of people just saying their relationships to each other or saying what they used to do, and it's like the copy and paste shit that I think has probably been in every Jason Statham movie ever, where people ask him for help and he's like, I'm not that kind of man anymore. Like, it is the exact lines of dialogue you expect to be there. At least The Beekeeper had more personality. It had the whole lore of the beekeeper. It didn't make any fucking sense, but it had it. There was all these bee puns, which were cheesy as hell, but at least it had more personality because of that. This one doesn't even satisfy the people who are looking for cheesy because it actually takes itself very seriously. And understandably, it's about a very dark subject matter, but it's just so unmemorable. Except for one scene where there is inexplicably, for no real reason at all, an Alice in Wonderland themed party happening. We approach the scene and there is this terrifying music playing, and then we get there and it's a bunch of people in weird, like, black and white Alice in Wonderland costumes, and it's haunting, and then that scene is over and it's just... It was odd. That was fucking weird. I don't know what was up with that. The rest of the movie, though, cookie cutter. So it's a 2.5, I guess. It's in the middle, you know. It's gonna leave my brain in about 45 seconds, so I gotta wrap this video up. But it's not the worst thing I've seen. But that's all I have to say about that. Leave your thoughts on A Working Man down in the comments. This is a very simple review for a very simple movie. But if you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe. If you want to see more from me, I want to have a discussion down in the comments. I appreciate all the support. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.